So talk about CBDCs really as a marketing event that causes everyone to think about a world where they don't own their own money. And that makes them think, well, what kind of money could I acquire that I would own? And the most censorship-resistant monetary network in the world is Bitcoin. So interest in CBDCs is just going to drive more feverish interest in Bitcoin. It's actually driving awareness, and Bitcoin is growing as people become more aware that they need something which is non-sovereign, store of value, nation-state resistant.
MicroStrategy co-founder and executive chairman Michael Saylor is detailing his thoughts on the potential launch of a central bank digital currency in the U.S. In a new interview with Valuetainment, Saylor said concerns about the potential pitfalls of a digital dollar, including mass surveillance of how people spend their money, will drive an intense level of interest in the world's largest decentralized crypto asset, Bitcoin. Push to launch American CBDC will drive feverish interest in Bitcoin, says MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor. I like Bitcoin for the same reason the Chinese don't like it. They can't control it. Nobody can control Bitcoin. So if you're insecure about being able to own your own money, do you own it, and can you actually use it without asking somebody's permission, then the solution is not gold. It's not silver coins. It's not stacks of cash. It's not money in a bank in the US. Saylor called CBDCs a marketing event that causes everyone to think about a world where they don't own their money. This would drive them to think about the kind of money that they could own, namely Bitcoin. Michael Saylor said central bank digital currencies will be a government marketing event that unintendedly fuels Bitcoin fever. Before proceeding further in this video, make sure to click on the subscribe button below for more recent updates.
If there's hyperinflation, people want Bitcoin. That's why they are thinking about Bitcoin in Argentina or in Nigeria or anywhere in Africa right now. If there's moderate inflation, people that are sensitive to it will go for Bitcoin, and then the people that think the inflation will go away will look at it as an oddity. But you know, money is it's a store of value, a unit of account, a medium of exchange, and then there's a fourth characteristic that we don't talk about. It's the thing that's not said. It's a system of control. So certain monies are easier to control than others. For example, you know, we talk about gold as money, but you ever try to carry a gold bar through an airport?
Very heavy.
You know, try it next time. You know, they won't let you through, right? In fact, if you tried to carry $100,000 of gold through an airport, not only would you not get through, but the assumption would be you're a criminal, you stole the gold, and they would just take it and keep it without a court order. Now, try to carry $100,000 of cash through the airport. You ever try that? Put it in a bag and just, you can put it in a bag, and as you're walking through the TSA check or the X-ray machine, just nonchalantly say to the officer, yeah, I'm carrying $100,000 of money onto the airplane, right? You won't get through. Now, not only will you not get through, they'll just take your money, right? They'll just take it, and the assumption will be you stole it, okay? So cash is a unit of control. Now, put $100,000 in a bank and try to wire it to someone, or just take it out and they're going to ask you why. Tell them it's none of their business. Try to send it to someone privately. Tell them you just want to send it to a numbered Swiss bank account, right? See how that works. That won't work, right? That's a system of control. A couple of stable coins have been getting shut down. Paxos's BUSD got a Wells notice. They got shut down, and Custodia tried to launch a bank, and they wanted to issue AVITs. AVITs were digital dollars, and they were digital dollars that were going to circulate on crypto networks. And the regulators denied that banking license, and it's about a 70-page denial letter, very articulate, and I read it all. I read thousands. I read all of the crypto legislation and all of the crypto litigation. So if you dig into that denial letter, which is very well written and articulate, what is very clear is the regulators say we're not going to allow the bank to form because we don't want to issue we don't want someone to issue digital dollars that will circulate on crypto networks non-KYC.
Every time someone builds an application that's cool on Bitcoin, like all the ordinals and inscriptions and whatever that are driving up transaction fees, it's a catalyst, said Saylor on the PBE podcast. Saylor says he doubts politicians will come to a consensus on a US CBDC in the near term, and he expects a massive congressional fight over the issue. Governor DeSantis signs ban on central bank digital currency. Both Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Republican, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a Democrat, are opposed to the Fed launching a CBDC.
So the one network that you have that gives you a decent chance of owning your own money and then being able to spend it the way you want is Bitcoin. So I'm not worried about Bitcoin. I do think that there'll be a massive political fight over CBDCs. There's a technical challenge. Our government doesn't know how to issue a CBDC. We don't know how to issue digital currency. The people that are issuing digital dollars are the cryptocurrency people, right? You know, Paxos knows how to issue a digital dollar, right? And the regulators sent him a Wells notice saying, shut it down. So the private market knows how to issue digital dollars. The government doesn't. The EU doesn't. The feds don't. And so even if they wanted to, they can't technically right now without somebody else's help. But as long as Congress is split, right, it seems to me quite clear there's a large faction, by the way, on the Democratic and the Republican side. I mean, Robert F. Kennedy, I don't think is in favor of a CBDC, nor is Ron DeSantis in favor of a CBDC. So there are a lot of free-thinking politicians in both parties that are adamantly against having a system of control where the government can decide.
2023 is already shaping up to be a major year in central bank digital currency exploration. As of March 1, 65 countries are in the advanced stage of development, and over 20 central banks have launched their pilots, including Brazil, Japan, and Russia. Bank of England advisor says CBDC is real risk in a financial crisis, but could also have benefits. In addition, from a technical standpoint, Saylor questions how long it will take the government to figure out how to actually create a digital version of the dollar. But as the technology moves closer to becoming a reality, he believes more people will recognize the government and private sector's ability to control cash and make it difficult for people to freely spend their capital. As the 2024 election cycle heats up, CBDC is a broad term covering a number of ways to digitize fiat currencies, which will not necessarily use blockchain or see use by average citizens, have become a flashpoint. Saylor doubted if politicians will reach a consensus on a US CBDC anytime soon, and he anticipates a significant confrontation in Congress over the subject.
I don't think that politically it's going to fly in the near term. In the next 2 to 4 years, I don't see consensus at the political level to impose a CBDC. But I think it's like that persistent boogeyman where people say, oh, it's coming, and the result is more interest in the antidote to it. So I don't think it's bad for Bitcoin. I think it's good for Bitcoin. I do think we ought to be concerned about money being used as a system of control. Is very disturbing. So it's simple. If people lose faith in the banks, they lose faith in the currency. When they lose faith in the currency, they lose faith in the government. When you lose faith in the bank, the currency, and the government, and someone says, what can you trust? The answer is you can trust Bitcoin because you can custody your own asset, you can run your own node. And at the end of the day, even if the Chinese want to shut it down, they can't. If the Russians want to shut it down, they can't. If any nation state wants to shut it down, they can't. If the US wanted to shut it down, they can't. And so everybody wants something that they can trust that is beyond the reach of a corrupt politician, a corrupt corporate executive, or they don't have to be corrupt. They can just be well-meaning, trying to do the right thing in a misguided fashion and meddling with your economic life.
The Bitcoin maximalists believe that not only is a majority of people against CBDCs, but also a majority of politicians. Moreover, he added that there is a fringe wing that wants to impose control over everybody, and they don't trust anybody. CBDC will lead to more Bitcoin awareness. Michael Saylor. Do you agree with Michael Saylor's perspective about launch of CBDC and its impact on Bitcoin performance? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you found this information helpful, then like this video and subscribe to our channel. We will bring you more updates in the future.